Hello, it's Morning Sharon here for some Morning Beholdle today. Everyone's favourite 3.5e D&D monster guessing game. It truly is. I've been watching a couple of different people play it now. Someone on YouTube, Marty Lebish, I believe, posted a short which I enjoyed. I like. It turns out I like watching other people play Beholdle. It's fun seeing how they tackle it, where their brain goes, the kind of logical sequences they follow to try and drill in is very interesting. And they're like the two people I've watched so far have very different levels of familiarity. Like like Marty seems to be quite familiar with D&D and third edition. Like he knew some of the more obscure monsters there, so that was interesting. And Braverby, from what I can tell, is mostly coming at this from I think 2E and Pathfinder, so that was interesting, sort of seeing how the differences in how they tackle it and the gaps in knowledge about like how things function, like knowing that like dragons, their age categories are not all the same size for the same species. Not everyone knows that, so like that I've seen that throw people off with like thinking that like, oh, it needs to be larger, therefore it needs to be an older category, and it's like not necessarily. Anyway, today's Beholdle. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the huge water elemental, which is still my best starter. Interestingly, the one thing I haven't seen anyone else do is pick a proper good consistent starter. I mean, Brother B's thing is he's picking monsters that he's fought on his stream the day before in a CRPG, which is an interesting way of doing it. I do like that as a strat. But I like to have an interesting, a good information hook on my first guess. And isn't this a good information hook? What is this that we're looking at here? We've got some green and some red. Now, not in the MM1, fine, sure. Probably material plane, no problems there. Huge, larger than CR7. So big and powerful, but neutral. And this is the weird part, any. That is weird. Because you take away that any, and I'm looking at like animal. I'm looking at vermin. I'm looking at construct. You drop the any in, and I'm like, what the fuck are we looking at? Well, it could still be, I guess it could still be construct. There are probably some constructs out there with any. But I think a lot of constructs have any land underground. As do oozes. All of oozes are any underground as well. The other big neutral. It's an extremely odd combination. This requires some thought. I mean, I feel like we can. A good way to think about Beholdle is don't just think what it can be, think what it can't be. I'm happy to rule out dragon, for example, because I don't believe there's a neutral dragon within any environment. Same goes for undead. Magical beast, I guess, is still in. Humanoid is I don't think humanoid. Huge humanoid, I don't think there are any. Monstrous humanoid, not impossible, but neutral monstrous humanoid that's huge? It's pretty wild if it is. Outsider is technically possible. But I'm not convinced. Animal seems so unlikely. I'm tempted to lean towards construct. Maybe we go for a construct to start with. Like, if it had said any land or underground, construct would be my immediate thought. And I'm tempted to stick with that. I suppose it's not entirely impossible. This is a giant, but again, they do tend to have an environment. And same goes for plants. They do tend to have an environment. Now, there's always a chance that it's something off-world and just isn't extraplanar, which is like... It's one of those things I've seen people trip up. Extraplanar does not mean this comes from another plane of existence. It kind of does, but it doesn't. That's not the perfect definition of what extraplanar means. Extraplanar means you are not fighting this thing on its home plane, which is slightly different. That's why you'll find that, like, Asmodeus does not have the extraplanar tag. Because if you're fighting Asmodeus, you're fighting him in hell, right? You're not going to find him wandering the material plane. And this is all, like, the books are all designed from the perspective of the material plane. Which is why you'll sometimes find something that isn't extraplanar. There was also, like, something that came up. There was a Githzerai, like a named Githzerai, or was it the Githzerai Lich or something like that someone guessed, and they were disappointed it wasn't set to the astral plane. And that's just lazy book design. That's because in the book, they were not given a home plane. NPCs rarely are given an environment. And the default assumption I made when putting this together was if they don't have a plane listed, they're from the material. And that's one of the things we're going to fix on Equality Paths. I think general consensus is they would prefer me to correct that. So we will be going in, and anyone who's specifically any sort of NPC that would definitely be tied to a specific plane or a specific environment will be given that environment. It gets a bit trickier when it becomes like, dwarf. It's like, do we assign all dwarves the same environment as the default dwarf, or leave them as any? That's a trickier question, right? And you can see how that is like. Imagine a drow NPC. It's like, are you expecting to face this drow NPC in Menzoberranzan or on the surface? Like, you have to sort of almost consider backstory as well, which makes it even more confusing. So there's a lot of considerations to try and fix that. But certainly for something like, the Gith. But again, it's like, it's tricky. It's tricky. We'll think about it. Man, I've got to pick something here. I'm still leaning towards construct. Let's get a construct in the bag. And construct almost certainly means golem, right? There's some exceptions. But in this case, especially with the neutral, and we want something that isn't from the MM1. We've got a coral golem, dragonflesh golem, fang golem, force golem. Ice golem. That's fun. Interesting. And this is one of those super rare monsters that has a cold any. Like, this might be the only cold any in the database. That is wild. You don't see that very often where the any's in the second slot. So it is a construct. Okay. I don't think we've had a construct yet. This is exciting. This is virgin territory. So bigger, probably not a subtype. Let's stained glass golem. don't know. I don't think they were huge though. This is tricksy, isn't it? I mean, let's try a sand golem. Okay. I should have known that was deserts. This is an example of where I've overridden. Oh, no, I think I have. I think pretty much everything in Sandstorm has warm deserts as a default. Because it just makes sense. So CR11. Oh, man. Tricksy golems. There's so many of them. I'm trying to think which ones are huge. We're talking sort of like... I don't think the clay golem is big enough, but it is advanced. Adamantine golem... I don't remember if that was in the MM1 or not. Alchemical golem could be. Blood golem of Hexter probably sounds pretty huge. Brain golem I think was fairly small, but don't quote me. Brass I think... Is that MM1? Questioning. Chain golem exists. I can't remember how big it is. Coral golem I think is large. And its environment is aquatic. I think. Because I think it's from Stormwreck. Maybe. Demon Flesh Golem. That's anyone's guess, but I suspect that would be extra planar, but who knows. Dragon Bone, Dragon Flesh. They're all very believable. Flesh is definitely like medium size. Force, I think, is large. Gemstone could well be a gemstone golem. Oh, this is so tricky. Iron half golem. Because an iron golem is about CR9, I think, right? That's definitely MM1. Mythful golem, I would expect it to be big, but... and slightly stronger. I mean, Mythful and Adamantine both seem pretty believable as options here. Shade Steel, Thayan, Web. I think Thayan is probably undead, right? It might not be an actual construct, or it might be made of like just a person. Ironworm. Ironworm sounds like it would be bigger. Let's grab a Mithril Golem. That's way too strong. So surely the Adamantine is super strong as well. Yeah, okay. Fuck. Well. Oh, this is tricky, man. My golem knowledge is not that good. I tried the blood golem. Brass golem? I feel like... Oh, but it is the MM2. Okay, it might be a gem golem then. Oh my god. That's a good one. Okay. Which is the strongest out of these? Let's try emeralds. Oh, they're from Moth, not MM2. Oh, my bad. Oh, fuck. So which other one is in the MM2? I thought the gem ones were from the MM2. So brass chain, maybe, I think. And it's going to be something not too crazy. Mud, maybe. Shade Steel, don't know. Web Golem. Let's try Chain. Shit, it is in the MM2, but it's not the one. Oh my god. I'm trying to think about the MM2. The MM2 is the one that's famously still 3rd edition. Is Alchemical in there? Brass and Chain are both in there. And it's going to be a batch of like 3 or 4. Because the original you have flesh, clay, iron. Um, stone, I think. So this would be like brass chain. We're just sort of veering off. We're not into crazy like brain territory. That's for like a proper splat book. We're still in the core NN here. So it's not going to be Blood Golem of Hexter. It's not going to be Demon Flesh. It's not going to be the dragon stuff. Pretty sure it isn't Fang, but it could be. I feel like Fang was from somewhere else. Force feels like it would be so much stronger. Gloom? It could be Gloom. I vaguely remember the Gloom Golem. I can't think what book it's from, but it could well be MM2. Gravedirt, I don't think so. Hangman, I don't think. Hellfire is going to be fire subtyped, probably from Beator. Ice Golem we know is cold. It's definitely not Incarnum. Definitely not Ironworm. Don't think it's Magma Core. Mud, I don't think so. Could be, but I don't think so. Prismatic's going to be too strong. Siege, I think, is from one of the later MMs. I could be wrong, but I think it's from the MM3. Soul Fuse, I don't think. Stained Glass might be. Stained Glass might actually be from MM2. Oh, it is, but it's not the right one. So that's from the batch, but it's not the right one. Ah! Oh my god. Okay. That's annoying. Stone, Great Stone, Half Thayan, Web. It's going to be Web or Gloom. But I feel like Web would be any underground. But then I feel like Gloom would be as well. Gloom seems the most likely, though. Oh, what if it's Fang and I'm just an idiot? Is Gloom from the MM2 or is it from Libris Mortis? This is agonizing. I'm gutted it wasn't the stained glass one. If I was putting a golem in the MM2, I just don't think it's Fang. I think Fang is much weirder than the MM2. Because look at the thematic sort of branch off from like flesh, clay, stone, iron into brass, chain, stained glass. We're like still in the same territory, just a little bit different. Plus, it's big. Like, I don't see the Fang Golem being bigger than like a brass golem. But I don't remember how big a gloom. I don't. We're going for it. Piss. It was a juggernaut. It wasn't even a golem. Oh, it was a juggernaut. I would not have guessed the juggernaut. Oh man, let me grab the MM2. Give me a second. I quite like the MM2. It's a pretty good book. There's some interesting shit in here, including the Furbolg, which is not the Pumat Soul Furbolg, but the original version of the Furbolg, the one that's still very much just a dude, just a big dude. Page 132. So 132. Oh fuck! Oh my god! I've used one of these. My guys, my fucking crew faced this in the Tomb of Horrors. It's the big square fucking steamroller thing. Ah, of course it is. Of course it is. Oh, what a classic. What an absolute classic. It's such a dumb fucking monster. But I mean, you put it in, in a corridor like the Tomb of Horrors, and it will fuck you up. It is what it is. They managed to cheese it. They managed to find basically video game style cheese spot and just and beat the hell out of it from a distance from where it couldn't reach them, which was pretty good going. I'm just checking the golems while I've got the book here. Dragonflesh is in the book. Oh my god. So the golems in this one, the stained glass, the brass, and the dragon flesh. Oh my god. The dragon flesh golem is only large as well. Jesus. The interesting thing I saw when I was watching other people play Beholdle is the confusion over the fact that there are CRs lower than 1. They go down to 1/10, just in case you were wondering. And the confusion over why a zombie goblin isn't any stronger than a goblin, when you would think that being undead would make it tougher. And that's because in 3rd edition, a zombie can only move or attack. It can't do both. So it's stronger, but it's also weaker. So there you go. Zombies, not very good. The idea is you make a fucking shit ton of zombies and throw them at your crew in waves. It's a lot more fun that way. Right. Let's have a quick look in Discord. I forgot to open Discord. Let's grab it and see what people are doing. Sorry, I'll have to minimize for a second. There you go. What are people doing in the Discord? We just have Orange's results. Oh, he failed out. So, Elf into Tarask. Jesus, that's a fucking swing and a half. Into Totem Giant. Into Stone Golem. And then Siege Golem, Dragon Bone Golem, Warforged Titan, Cadaver Collector, Gemstone Golem, Emerald, and then Mythful Golem. Yeah, a few of the same notes. That was definitely a tricksy one. Right. Okay, I better bail. I've got some adult things to do. I know normally I do a Saturday morning stream. That's going to be happening Sunday morning this week because I've had to shift some stuff around. So I'm going to disappear and be back after lunch, where we shall press on with some Neverwinter Nights 2. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you after lunch. Bye.